tell us a little bit about the way that you've networked your way to get the clients that you've got, because you said something off air earlier that I thought was really interesting about the clients that you've got now.
Yeah,
are the ones you wanted, but you never approached them.
Yeah. So and that's so I had my sort of dream list of clients when I started out, like as you do, like you say you study in accounting, you want to work with one of the big four accounting firms or big banks or whatever it may be. So I had my dream client list. The way I sort of approach that. So networking is a funny one, right? Because when you think of networking, you think sleazy guy handing out business cards at a mixer or whatever it may be. I'm not that. Like I'd rather be myself and present myself and just start a conversation, form friendship, whatever it may be. But this whole sucking up to people, I've never done that, and that's one thing I'm really proud of, that my career hasn't been as a result of me sucking up to people. So the approach excuse me, the approach I took was I made sure, because one thing I found out really early was it's so easy it's not so easy, but taking pretty pictures or whatever, that's all well and good, like that's important, but what these clients really want is people with experience. So for me, like those first, say, 4-5 years, I worked with smaller clients where I could afford to sort of learn on the job, make a few mistakes. I still have to do the job and do it well, but the pressure of working with the big agencies or the big publications who commission you to do world-class coverage, they're not going to take a risk on a guy who's got 2 years experience. Why would you, right?
Yep.
If you're in their position, why would you? Like, why would I waste my money on this guy who claims to be really good and talks big, he might have a pretty folio or whatever, but he doesn't have the experience. Yep. He or she doesn't have the experience. So the route I took was, I'm just going to plug away, be patient about it. Because I would always compare my work to those of the other photojournalists, sports photographers, whatever they may be. I was always comparing the ones who worked with the big agencies, the big publications. I would always compare my work to theirs. So if I can say we're covering a sporting event, so-and-so is here, I'm here, we're using the same or similar equipment, covering the same event. At the end of that match, I would always go, all right, well, this is my set of pictures, this is his or hers. Why? There's such my work is rubbish. So why on earth will I go to these big clients and go, hey, I want to work with you, because I'm just not ready yet. So I did that, and it was really hard because it probably meant that my career was extended. It slowed down my career progression by a few years because I didn't play the game, and it didn't necessarily. Yeah. I networked, but I didn't network.
Yep,
that makes sense. Yeah, and in the end, now all these clients that I work with now, I never approached them; they've approached me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever gone somewhere where you've had to really think on your feet or improvise?
Yeah, a lot, especially for the overseas assignments. You don't know. Like, there's been a lot of countries I've gone to for the first time. I've obviously never been there, and I've gone there to do a story. And no matter how well prepared you think you are, and obviously it's all a short notice, so you don't, you can't do your research and what's the public transport system like and all this sort of thing. Like you don't have time to figure all that out. So you're always just trying to, once you land, you got to think on your feet.
Yeah.
Quite often, with a lot of the stuff I do, I find that doing the actual story isn't that hard. It's all the logistics, the problem solving associated to get that story together. So when I'm with someone and I have to speak to them, shoot them, interview, whatever it may be, that's quite easy.
Yep.
Well, it's not easy, but it's easier compared to trying to organize everything at short notice.
Because you might land somewhere and they don't speak English.
Correct.
You're just gonna wing the whole lot.
What I would do in that situation is, I would reach out to, say, a local paper or a local journalist and go, hey, do you know a fixer who can help me with translating or whatever?
Gotcha.
I will always, I love, one thing I do love about whenever the opportunity arises where I get to work overseas is that I can mingle with some of the local journalists.
Yep.
And not just to get things like leech off them, but get their thoughts and spark up a conversation and a friendship, and then they will help you.
Yep.
And I do the same when there's people that, because I know what that's like to be in that situation. So that's really important, because those people will help you, but you've got to obviously just make sure that you're doing the right thing by them as well. Yeah.
Yep. Anyone that's embarking on a new journey, new business, new project, whatever it might be, they're bound to face rejection at some level. Tell us about how you faced it and how you dealt with it.
Yeah. So rejection's a funny one, because I think it also comes down to self-doubt as well. Because I was always like, am I good enough? That was a common question I always ask myself, am I good enough? I would get my work critiqued and I'm big on getting yourself critiqued, regardless of whatever field you're in. You should always try and seek out people who are doing the things you aspire to do, not your mates, not people who are the same level as you, not stupid fucking internet forums and crap like that, right? Just seek the best.
Yep.
I know it's hard to speak to the best, but you will probably come across people who are near there or whatever. So I would show my work, and these guys are ruthless. They'd be like, no, man, this work's crap. But this is why. And so they'd give you a list of reasons why it was crap, and it makes sense. It's like, all right. So when I compare my work to other people, it's like, oh, now it makes sense. So what I did, because I've been doing this for 9 years, and really it's only been in the last 3-4 years where things have really picked up, and I'm working with the clients I've dreamt of working with and all of that. But I had everyone has goals. What I did was I had like a 5-year goal, and I had a 10-year goal. So I'm 9 years, so I've achieved my 10-year goal already, right? I'm not saying that to brag, but like I've done that, and I think that was as a result of me setting that 5-year goal.
Yep.
So for example, my 5-year goals were to work with some of the smaller agencies or publications, to cover certain events, cover certain news stories. Those were my goals, but it was also, I wanted to just keep plugging away, because I knew my end goal wasn't achievable in 5 years. You've got to be realistic.
Yeah,
right? You've got to be realistic. Some people just think, oh, I've been doing this for a year now. I think I'm right. I'm gonna, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
And they're not. They probably have the talent, but they don't have the experience.
Yep.
So I had to play that long game of, all right, stick to that plan, stick to those goals. So after 5 years, I sort of analyzed things, and I probably, looking at it now, I may have sort of hit those goals, but I was on the right track. So I got some sort of confidence from that. I knew, all right, well, the foundation's been laid. I'm confident enough to push on. But the thing was, when I try to explain this to people, it's like, this is how long it took. That sort of demoralizes them, but that's sort of the reality. Like, there's not many people I know, I mean, it's an absolute freak that can make it really work in the space of a couple of years.
Yep.
So, and especially in my case, because I'm not a natural. Like, I'm not, like, you know how people say, and I hate this, absolutely hate this term, and people say, oh, you have an eye for photography or whatever. I don't have that. I'm not saying that just because, and like, I just never had that. So I knew, all right, well, I'm already at the back of the queue because I don't have that natural talent. but I had to hack my way. And the way I hacked it was I would look at all the work that, all the really good photojournalists, I would look at their work. I'd look at every year, there's a photo competition called the World Press Photo, which is like the most prestigious awards in photojournalism. And I always look at who wins, and I'd not just look at who wins, I'd go dissect their work, their body of work, and sort of figure out why did this win? Why is this so good? Obviously, it looks good, but why? Like, what are the ingredients that makes this so good? So I would hack my way around that. So I'm not ashamed to admit, like, I have, like, people say, oh, this is my style. I don't necessarily have that. I have a combination of everyone else's styles that I've tried to incorporate because, to be honest, like, if being straight up about it, it's like I've kind of copied their style. Yep. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But
you've taken bits from everyone.
I've taken bits from everyone.
Yep.
Because I knew that worked for them. And if I apply those things, it'll work for me. Because, and again, this comes down to me not having that natural talent, that natural eye, and all of that. So for me, my workaround was, if you look at all the best people, what they're doing, and why their work works, use that information. It's there. It's free. It's you know.
So, Asanka, if someone that was completely green came up to you, they said to you that they don't even know what a camera looks like, and they said to you, I want to be a photojournalist because I've got similar interests to you, what would you say to them? Give me 3 things.
So I get a lot of people ask me, especially when it comes to sports, they're like, oh, I want to be a sports photographer, but I can't get a media pass and whatever to cover. And I don't always, because I get these emails quite often, I can't bother responding to all of them. But now that this is out there, it's good. You don't need a media pass. You don't, like, when you're starting out, you don't want that. That's the deep end. That's professional level stuff. You don't want to be in that environment. You want to learn, like those professional athletes you want to photograph, where they learn, which is the local park, right? So, and quite often you'll get better access. The ground's a lot more picturesque than, trust me, believe me, than Amy Park with MCG or these concrete coliseums. Like the local park has a nice background, which is a key to a good sports photograph. So hone your skills there, work on the basics there, and figure out when the light is right, what's a really good background, and just wait until something happens on that cricket field or football field, whatever it may be. And then if you get that shot, bang, that's one shot in your folio, right? When a photo editor is looking for new talent, they don't care who you photographed. They don't care where it's photographed. It could be, like I said, the local park. They don't care. They care about, like, has this individual worked on their craft? Is there something there that I can say, you know what, this guy or girl has potential? So that is, like, super important. Just, you don't need to be at the big news stories, the big sporting events. You don't need to. You can. There's plenty of things in your neighborhood that you can cover, and the people that make the big decisions will see that. They'll see the talent. All right. So the second point is you should try to be humble, and I know it sounds so, but I find that a lot of people, and I was certainly guilty of it when I first started, you get so caught up in social media likes. It's like, oh, well, all these people are liking my stuff, I must be good. Yeah. Right? But firstly, look at who's liking your stuff. If it's just people you already know, well, of course they're going to like your stuff. Yeah. All right? So the way to judge whether you are good or not is to show your work to people who are much better than you, or the people you aspire to be like. And believe me, in my own experience, they will put you down like a pig. Not because they want to, but because they'll give you a good reality check on where you stand and how the quality of your work. So don't believe or don't use the metric of likes as a judge on how good you are, because chances are it's wrong. Yeah. So, like, in my case, I don't have many Instagram followers, but I don't really care. And I'm not playing that Instagram game. But I know the followers that I do have are respected people in the photojournalism community, the other photojournalists, and for me, if I don't like it, there's like I know how to play the Instagram game in terms of photos, right? I could put pretty sunset pictures and all this, and I get heaps of likes and heaps of followers, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to be known for that. I want to be known for my work, and if the people that I respect like it, then that's good for me. Yeah. And then point number 3 was sacrifice.
Yes.
Sacrifices?
Yeah.
Yep. So and then finally the third point would be prepared to sacrifice. And I know I've mentioned it before, but it's you can't achieve anything that is quite unique, or it doesn't matter what field it is, but particularly in this field, you have to be prepared to sacrifice because this just will not work. And goal setting, again, coming back to those goals. And I know everyone says that, set goals, and it's so easy to say. And I think I find a lot of people set really outlandish long-term goals, which is fine, which is great, or really, really short-term goals, and nothing really in between, or like say again those medium and long-term goals. Setting those time frames.
Yep.
So if you can judge whether you're on the right track or where you stand. Yeah.
I think that's invaluable advice. It's not related to photojournalism or journalism or photography. That can be applied across the board. So I think that's great advice. We're going to wrap it up there, but we're going to leave some links in the description, how you can follow Asanka and his business, his journey, and keep tabs on him. And if you've got any comments for Asanka or myself, please leave it in the comments below.